Alright, it's March 18th, and I'm going to work on the Jeep here a little bit today. I figured I'd start out the video with a little driving demo as to what I've been experiencing. There's a hard bump. You can see the wheel wiggling there. I've got this like 3/4 of an inch of dead zone, which is kind of annoying. There it is right there. And I think it's in the gearbox. I've lost some of my return to center. As you can see, the wheel stays a little to the left. And it stays a little to the right. I've been upgrading the steering on this because I just put 35s on it, and the ball joints were bad, and I was driving on the ball joints knowing that they were bad, got a little bit of death wobble, and in turn trashed the tie rod ends and drag link. So I think I might have damaged the steering box a little bit, because that's the dead zone. The Jeep does absolutely no movement. I'll back the camera off a little bit here. It doesn't move at all, and there's that dead zone. So I'll demonstrate when I turn a corner how I've lost my return to center, and I'm going to try and adjust that out of the gearbox today. Here's another little demo at a red light. So there's a hard stop when you move the wheel back and forth. It literally, you can feel it bumping up against something hard. So that's what we're going to try and adjust out. Alright, coming up on my right turn where I can demo the loss of return to center. So there we go. The wheel stays at about the 2 o'clock position and about the 10 or 11 o'clock position. So let's we'll pull into the yard here and see what we can do. Okay, so way down in here, right, well, I can't even point at it. Top of this gearbox, there's a 5/8 nut, and on this vehicle it is a screwdriver flat blade. So I'm trying to get that loosened up, and I was unsuccessful at my house. I can get the nut free. Oh my goodness. But then I couldn't get anything else to turn. Wow, that was jammed in there. There we go. So I backed it off to where it was from the factory, because I've turned it to the right already, so I backed it off counterclockwise. Okay, so I backed that steering box adjustment back off to where it was from the factory, and now when I let go of the wheel, it's almost returned to center. Now some of that is also the really heavy duty ball joints. There's a tiny bit of memory steer left in those, but see, the steering wheel just centered out, and it wasn't doing that. It would just exponentially stay to the left. So we might finally have this resolved. It was really aggravating. I'm gonna let go of the wheel. Whoops, a little too soon. From the right, it has returned to center. Excellent. I am very happy with that. Let's try it again left, and we'll see if we can get it to return to center. There we go. Let go of it a little bit more. Not quite returning to center on the left, but again, that's some of those heavy duty components I put in the front end. They've only got 100 miles on them. So I think we got her. Okay, so let's take a peek at the front end here, and I'll explain what all we've done. The ball joints are Dynatrac Pro Steers, the heavy duty ones, and this driver's side had a little bit of play in it, but the passenger side had like almost 3/16 slop in the bottom joint. In turn, that took out the tie rod ball joints, or the tie rod ends on each side of the tie rod, so that was loose. Then we'll come over here, and I don't like how this is turned, but it seems to be okay. The stock high steer kit also was loose, and it's only been on here for 6 weeks, which was really aggravating. Actually, it's been on here for 8 weeks. So I replaced it with the Synergy drag link kit. This is adjusted out 1/4 inch longer than recommended. It's at 3.5 instead of 3 1/4. But the steering wheel's dead center, and I could fix that up here by cranking that out a little bit. So the track bar is stock but relocated with the AEV kit. This is the bolt that I broke, and all of this combined led to the weird dead zone in the steering, which I had tried to adjust out, not realizing that this was bad, by adjusting the gearbox, which doesn't seem like I needed to do. So I'm gonna go test drive this at highway speed and see if it wanders all over the road. Alright, so some key things that I'm looking for here, and this is going to be hard to document. There's semi-truck ruts in this road, but a couple things. I've reprogrammed the speedometer with the AEV ProCal, and I'm looking to make sure that, number one, my speedometer is dead on with the GPS, and it appears to be. I need to kick my speed up a little bit because traffic's catching up to me. And I'm making sure that the Jeep's not wandering all over the road, because that was my biggest complaint. So I can let go of the steering wheel and it tracks true, minus the fact that I'm wobbling just a tiny little bit in the semi truck ruts. So I'm going to make my way out towards the interstate, and I'm actually going to get on the frontage road, not the interstate. I'm going to run the speeds all the way up to 70 and see if I can let go of the steering wheel and not have any weird crazy overcorrecting, because that's one of the symptoms I was having. Alright, so here we go. I've got the frontage road to myself. There's nobody behind me, so I dropped my tires down to 28. I was still not quite wearing on them correctly, and just passed through 50 mile an hour. And let's get it up to 70. I want to verify that I can let go of the steering wheel and I'm not going to be getting whipped all over the road. So there's 65. There is 70. And the GPS is close enough to be within a margin of error. GPS says 68.5, speedometer said 70. And I was just pinching the steering wheel, so I'm not getting whipped all over the road. I think my next test, I'm gonna run up a couple exits on the interstate on the frontage road, turn around and come back down the interstate as a test. I'm not gonna film that. I think that'd be a little dangerous at 75 to 80 mile an hour. And then as these tires warm up, the pressure is going to increase on them a little bit, which is totally fine. So I think we got it. I will update after I do the highway speed test at about 80 mile an hour. All right, we're back off the interstate. It was crazy. There's a full-size 4-door Dodge Ram with a long bed lifted. We hit a bump on some road construction, and he went into full-on death wobble at 70 miles an hour. But I can one finger drive the Jeep now, whereas before, I mean, it was fatiguing. So I'm really happy with this result. And 28 psi in the tires, cold, feels good. The steering wheel's coming back to center. It's staying at center, so as I'm driving, it is actually returning to center. So putting the gearbox back to factory adjustment was the right call, and it really was loose steering components. So there's the troubleshooting and diagnosis of the steering issues on the 2015 Wrangler Rubicon, and I'm turning big old 35s now, and I am ready for some summer wheeling.